Mommy say the big heart chin up queen. Daddy said girl you can be who you want. Academic way first just to make sure. Tight the loose ends, yeah now I'm secure. Graduated, elevated.
Hello, my name is Noma Mguni and thank you for watching PhD Hard Talk videos on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Sharing's caring, right? So today I am going to talk about the key skills that you need during your research journey. So first things first, presentations, they are a part of research, so you need to learn how to present your work, from the slides, communication, pauses, and also question and answer. So in terms of myself, I like to be prepared, so I practice my presentations. This can be done via, look at yourself in the mirror, or recording yourself and then listening to yourself as you speak. The other one is presenting to your family and friends, and then they ask questions. That's easy, right? And then you can take the feedback and then work on your presentation to make it better, or maybe it doesn't need any adjustments. Who knows, right? So presentations, they are key. But then also don't get into the habit of reading everything on your slides. Give them something extra. Bring some finesse. Keep them on their toes. Keep them excited about what you're talking about. And also know your work. Know what you're talking about. Have some keywords, use some jargon, simple English, and then throw in there, a little Latin, all this keeps people going, oh wow, interesting. That's just me. You can do whatever you like. And then the other skill is, reading. Reading is something that I find quite challenging at times, depending on who's written what and what is it about and when was it written in terms of context. So we've got so many softwares out there, and I think one that I've found to be amazing is Audemic. Literally, they are amazing. So you can listen to your journal and process the information. It's amazing. But in terms of reading, I would say start off by reading. This is what I do. I go into the conclusion, recommendations, then I go back into the abstract. It usually helps me to understand where they are, where they're going, and how they got there, the recommendations. Then when I'm reading, I can see the storytelling, because with your research, you have to be a storyteller. People have to understand, where did you start, where you're going, and how did you get there? What do we know, what don't we know, and how? Key questions that you have to ask yourself in research. And in terms of the other skill as well that I would like to touch on, which is summarizing. It is quite difficult to summarize at times, but with certain journals that you do read, sometimes you need to summarize what you've learned from there. I do that anyway. So I write a key summary of what I've learned and also what I've picked up. It could be words. Some words I just think, oh my gosh, that is an amazing word that I could use in my thesis. So let me borrow that. And then I find out, the root word. Is it a Greek? Is it Latin? Is it a Greek word? Sorry, a Latin word. Just find out, the history behind the word and what it means. And also, is it used, for example, in medicine a lot, or is it used in my field or psychology? To get myself a bit familiar with the word, essentially, because if I'm going to use it, for example, in my presentations and in my thesis, I have to know what it means. And sometimes, you may get that challenge from somebody who say, actually, that's not the right word. What does it mean for your research? And then I can quickly get in there and be like, boom, boom, boom. This is what it's about, and this is why, and share and explain my logic. And then in regards to reading as well, you have to have some good time management skills. Sometimes I find myself reading the same sentence like 3 times, and I'm thinking, I don't get it. Hence why I go into the conclusion, recommendations, and go into that abstract, then introduction, and work my way through the paper, because at least I've got an overall insight. Because sometimes maybe it's just a me problem. I have no idea. You can share if you experience the same things. If you don't, that's okay. We're all different. We're wonderfully made. So if that's the case, I always try and manage my time when I'm reading to ensure that each paper, I give it a bit of time and patience. If it's not working, I'll put it to one side and move on to the next one, because there's no need for me to, force myself to try and get something at that moment in time. Maybe if I pick it up tomorrow, it might be a different story and I'll get it. It just depends. So that's what I do. And also managing your time in terms of your work, that's really important. Give yourself deadlines that you can work to, and also work to the supervisors' deadlines as well. That is really important, because if you can manage your own time, it will help you in your career. It will help you in terms of your day-to-day as well. So I can be late, don't get me wrong, but I'm always on time as well, with certain things. And so I've realised, to respect my time is to respect myself, essentially. So I keep to my time, and that means that I'm respecting other people's time. You've got certain people that are always late, and they'll come back and be like, do you know what? I'm using African time. I'm using this kind of time. It's like, I've been waiting. It's been 2 hours. Where have you been? So imagine how they are with their work as well. So everything translates to everything that you do. So time management skills, I would say, they are at the top there. And then also with what you read, it's not everything that you should read. Be selective. Make sure it links into your research. Always, what is the added value of me reading this paper? If it's 0, put it to one side. That's an interesting, or maybe a maybe bio. Put it somewhere over there, and read journals or books that add value, that will help you to defend your thesis at the end of the journey, and also that will help you in terms of becoming an expert, ideally, in your field. That's what we try and do. We want to be experts. We want to talk about previous research that's been done and the learnings from that, and also talk with passion about where we are, what we've found out, and how we're adding value to that discipline, essentially. So that's what I mean by that, and why I do it, essentially. And in terms of support bubbles, I would say get one in uni in terms of your colleagues, and have one outside of uni, because when we've got like deadlines and we're attending conferences, it is quite difficult for us to maintain contact during those busy periods. So I would say, having friends outside of academia, it does help, because they will be available when they're not in work, essentially. They've got 9 to 5s as well, so they may be able to read your work, listen in on your presentations if you are attending any conferences, if you've got oral presentations, or just look at your posters. So it's always good to have that support bubble outside of academia. And it's good for your mental health as well, because maybe you're feeling a bit low. You can go, for a walk with them, ice skating. I don't know what you do for fun. Just knitting, crochet. I don't know what you do. Play chess. Yeah, something fun, essentially. And, hobbies, I think I've mentioned this to say it is important to have hobbies outside of academia. And I think the other thing that I've learned is, when it comes to your work, whether you're working in industry or you're in academia, you need that work-life balance. Don't feel trapped. Don't feel like you're stuck, because once you do, you fall out of love with whatever you're doing. And the other thing is, you need to have a voice, and you can only have a voice if you've got work experience. What does that mean? Read your books, read your journals, stay in tune with what's happening in your field, attend webinars outside of your university. because then you can expand in your knowledge, you can network, and learn new things as well, and try and work with other colleagues that you've met in conferences, in terms of what they're doing, where they want to be. Write a reflective essay of where every month, in terms of where you are, where you want to be at the end of the month, but don't use that as a stress factor in terms of, oh, I haven't achieved that, or it didn't go according to plan. Nothing goes according to plan. The greatest inventors didn't go according to plan to get to where they are now. So what is the strategy? React and stay afloat. Don't sink. Keep swimming with the sharks and keep focused. Look at your vision board. Is it vision board? Stay there. Know what you're about, what you want to achieve, and why you want to get there, and keep it moving. Keep it moving. And if you need a break, pause everything, take your break, and then come back. And if you feel like, do you know what, I'm giving up now, speak to a specialist. I'm not a specialist, so I can't, talk about, this is what you do if you're under stress and duress. That's not my thing. But you can speak to somebody that will be able to advise you. And I know that universities globally now, they've invested so much into mental health, and in terms of publications as well. If you attend these conferences and you're speaking to people, they will share in terms of where they get their funding from, also how you can apply for that funding to get your work out there, so that you're recognized as a scholar as well, because we need it to get into work. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's how it works. Some people, they think it's too stressful to publish. Some people think it's an amazing idea. And also, don't forget to subscribe to PhD Hard Talk, because I interview people from different disciplines who share their life experiences in terms of their PhD journey or postdoc, or when they started teaching, and how they had to balance their uni life and teaching. And some people have worked full-time jobs while they're doing their PhD. How do you balance that and pay your bills and not give up on your dream because obviously you couldn't get the funding or the scholarship? And it's so diverse in terms of information, and also advice in terms of how to look after yourself. So these are my key survival codes of conduct. I think I can call them that, for a PhD student. And just practice makes better. And if you are exposed, you get to see a lot more, hear a lot more, and gain further understanding in regards to what the expectations are, because sometimes we don't know what the expectations are for our PhDs. We know what we're being told, but we don't know what the big picture is. And if you are around other colleagues, you will hear, you will understand, and you can start working on your career plan in terms of where you want to be and why you want to be there. And then you can look at the salaries, and then you can start exploring and getting that CV nice and healthy, in terms of volunteering and publishing, and also teaching experience. So hopefully this video does help in terms of certain questions that you may have in regards to your PhD, and also in regards to how you should think, which is the logic aspect. I'm not saying what I've said stands and it's the only way. However, you can experiment with what I've shared today and make it better and share back with me, because also I need the help. I don't know it all. I'm just trying. I am trying to figure it out just as you are. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and do not forget to subscribe to PhD Hard Talk. Subscribe on YouTube, and remember, hashtag project dissemination to the world and hashtag sustainable knowledge to the world. Thank you for your time.